good. She's going to be the one providing all the extra added information for us. The expert information from being the medal winning diver.
I woke up at 4 a.m. and I did some research.
Oh, good.
Sleep. I was so excited to see the guys dive.
I know.
I could sleep really well before my dive, but last night I was just so excited to see them dive. I can't sleep.
I know. Well, my roommate's a safety, so she gets up like at 5 every day, and I'm like, okay, you know. But the problem is she wants to go to sleep at 8:30, so at night it's like and I don't have all we have is like 2 beds crammed into a little room. We have no desk, we have no chair, we have nothing. It's not like you can really do any work. So.
It's how it is, like with freediving competition.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Carla, are you ready?
I am. Let's see. As soon as our first stop is 8:48, so we'll wait just a couple of minutes because we got 4 hours today total, mijo.
We need to make sure that we know when we start because Facebook will cut in 4 hours.
Okay, so
we need to set up the alarm, and if we don't make it until the end, we'll just quit before.
we're just okay.
I will do it when we start.
Okay, so what I'm thinking is we'll wait to the very last second to try to get as many because we have a total of we start at 9, we're going to 128, so that's 4 and a half, so we're gonna miss those. Can we turn it off at the break and have that not count, the half an hour in between? So we can do that, and then and that way we'll
Day 2, part 1, day 2, part 2.
okay, I think maybe that'll work better. So we don't miss half the people. Kind of rude if we just, sorry, don't have any more time. You're not on it.
Teraz zaczynasz na przerwie.
Great. Good morning and welcome to the second day of the AIDA International Depth World Championships here in beautiful Roatan, Honduras. Our host is Esteban Darhampi from the Roatan Freediving School here. We also have an excellent sponsorship from the Honduras Tourism Board, which we really appreciate, and also the Mayan Princess Resort Hotel, which is absolutely stunningly beautiful. This morning we will be having the men's free immersion competition. We have decided for this particular competition to separate each day into men and women with one discipline each day. In between each of those days we will have a rest day or optional training. Joining me this morning is Chinese national champion and record holder Jessie Liu. You all probably saw her do her beautiful free immersion dive yesterday. So Jessie and I will be commenting this morning. We'll also be having some other athletes come by following their dives, and some of the girls from yesterday will also be joining us to provide some information. We are having sort of the opposite, more men one day and more women commentating, because as they're competing and preparing or coaching each other, they don't have time to come up here and join us. So that's why it's set up the way it is right now. So we're really happy to see Jessie. And Jessie, tell us what you're anticipating today.
Well, good morning, Carla. You know what? I was so excited about seeing today's dive and getting to do this commentating thing with Carla, and I couldn't sleep. I think I slept 4 hours total, and it was almost more stressful than before my dive. That's okay. Yeah, I'm like anticipating a very intense competitive day. Yes. Where we do have several really deep announcements, and the condition here is slightly rougher than yesterday, but still nice and calm.
We have some surface wind today.
Right. So and hope the wind will die down as the divers get deeper and deeper.
All right, we are starting our competition now. We're at the countdown on the blue platform. We'll be starting with Walter Strombichler from Austria. He has announced a dive of 33 meters in a dive time of 1 minute and 25 seconds. Jessie and I were saying that Walter is a new athlete, and we really don't know him and haven't seen him too much, so we don't have a lot to say. But Jessie, take a look at his dive and tell me what you're seeing here.
Okay, so he is going down, equalizing right now. From the way he equalizes, he's having one hand on his nose, which may suggest that he is using a mask, and he's really only pulling with one hand. So that
there he is at the plate.
Here he's touching down. So now he is coming up with 2 arm pulls, a much faster speed. Now, in my opinion, with free immersion dive with a mask, even if you have to use your hand to equalize by pinching the nose pocket, it's still better to just switch hands with each pull.
Oh, okay, that's a really good point, Jessie. And for our newer divers, you might take that into consideration, that recommendation by Jessie. Here he is on the surface now. He is wearing a mask, in fact. We have a little bit of glare on our screen, so some things are a little hard to see. He's giving the okay sign. He says, "I'm okay." He looks perfectly fine. Let's wait and see now. The judges are obliged to hold him at least 30 seconds. They can hold him longer if they feel that there's an issue that he may not be as fresh as we would like him to be, but 30 seconds is the time they are required to wait. They are waiting now, and we'll wait and see. And it's a white card. Oh, excellent start of the day. Isn't it always good, Jessie, to start with on a positive note?
Yes, white card to start the day is great.
All right.
And congrats to Walter.
So that's great. Congratulations, Walter. That was lovely. Very nice. So now, over on the white part platform, we are going to be starting with Juan Carlos Carvajal of Colombia. Juan Carlos is not a first-time competitor. He has competed in a few competitions before, not as large as this one or as important as the World Championships, of course, but we're really glad to have him. He, as you can see, he does not wear a wetsuit. He is more of a purist. He prefers to just be diving in his swim attire. So, and he is wearing, looks like some kind of goggles, and we'll see how he does. And so, Jesse, have you ever tried to dive without your wetsuit and just in a swim costume?
I have not in the ocean.
Okay.
Because I'm naturally, tend to be afraid of cold. I have used a very thin wetsuit. It's actually designed for pool use. It's almost zero thickness. And in really warm water like here with a sunny day, I think that would be nice.
Yeah. Well, our water here is extremely warm. It's very pleasant. When I've been in the water, which is every day except the last two, because I was just checking on everything and watching and observing, I've just been wearing a, like little lycra thing like you have on today, just to protect me from any jellyfish stings, so, and sun. But we really don't need to wear a wetsuit for any sort of protection from the cold. Maybe you'd like to inform some of our viewers today a little bit about how one determines the buoyancy and related to the thickness of the suit.
Okay, so the neoprene is a material that has a lot of entrapped air bubbles. So the neoprene thickness will heavily influence how buoyant the diver will be who wears the suit. So in general, the most common thickness for wetsuits are 1.5 millimeter, 3 millimeter, 5 millimeter, and 7 millimeter, depending on the temperature of the water. So there's a quite large difference in terms of the weight a diver needs to be neutrally buoyant at the same depth. For example, at 10 meters, for me, if I were to wear a 1.5 millimeter, I think I am wearing about 1.5 kilos,
Okay.
something like that, with nice good peak inhalation. Maybe a little less than 1.5. Yeah, it's been a while since I used 1.5 millimeter suit, but with 3 mil, probably I would have to use 4 pounds, which is about 2 kilos. And then when it gets thicker, it's a lot. I just remember from my trip to Antarctic, because I was wearing a 9 millimeter suit, I was wearing 12 kilos,
Oh gosh.
25 pounds of weight, just to be neutrally buoyant at 10 meters.
And I think for some of our divers too, they have to decide if they want to be aided and assisted more with the weight on the way down, or have less weight to make the ascent easier. So it's sort of something you have to think about in your own body and your own style as to, what works best for you. And there's also, it can change depending upon, I know in the Mediterranean where it's more salty, that you will notice a difference in your buoyancy. And also it can just depend on your body and different things.
So
here we have
Juan Carlos is going.
He's breathing up on the surface right now, getting ready. And here he goes. You can see he just has on a swimsuit, and he started his descent.
Sometimes when I do like very shallow, photos, dives, I don't wear a wetsuit, and when the water actually touches the skin, it's a very nice feeling.
And he may be wanting to be more comfortable and feel like he does naturally when he's just swimming or spearfishing. I'm not sure what his preference is as far as what his favorite ocean activities are, but he may want to just feel more natural without wearing a suit and a lot of weight. That's one thing. If you don't wear a suit at all, you can wear less weight. So.
Now there he touches
And there
down.
he comes
so
down.
his pull down looks quite confident and fluid. Yeah, now he's coming up. Looking nice and relaxed.
There's the first safety coming in, giving him the signal, telling him where he is so he knows he's getting close. Second safety appears. He'll also give him a signal, looking into his eyes to make sure that everything looks good and he's feeling good. photographer Dan Verhoeven swooping in.
Yeah, you can see he's wearing a mask. You can actually see the bubbles escaping from the mask as he ascends.
As he
All right,
said.
at
And
surface.
there he is. There he is. He's looking fine. He needs to remove his mask. He needs to look at the judges. Give an okay sign and a verbal I am okay within 15 seconds. On this line today we have judges John Wright from New Zealand and Sara Silva from Cyprus. Both very experienced judges and organizers. Waiting now. White card, very nice. Nicely done for Juan Carlos. John Wright is going to be organizing in conjunction with Remy de Bern and AIDA France the first ever large competition in Indonesia. The Indonesian government is going to be sponsoring it, so we're really looking forward to that. And if anyone is interested in competing, I would urge you to contact John or Remy to ask about this competition. I think it's going to be great. They're looking to buy some they've got some good financial support from the government, and they will be able to provide some good things there for that. All right, over on the blue platform now, getting ready to go, is Dr. Juan Valdivia. Juani is a Peruvian national who resides in Tampa, Florida. He is a neurosurgeon. He is a member of the AIDA International Medical Board. He is our go-to person actually for cases involving anything neurological, such as decompression illness or sickness, and any other neuro things that might affect a diver. And we are really pleased to have him. He started diving just a few years ago. He was trained originally by William Trubridge. He's also worked with Jonathan Sunex in Dominica. He has acted as a competition medic at Dominica, and we are just really proud to have him as part of the AIDA family. This is his first.
Wow, quite a credential.
It is. This is his first major competition. I think he's quite nervous. He was having some problems with one ear, his right ear, and then he was talking to me about this. He was wondering whether he should dive, and I said, "Oh, come on, Wani, you're here. Give it a go." I think some of it is nerves. So Wani today has announced a dive of 50 meters and 1 minute and 50 seconds. This would be a Peruvian national record, because there are no Peruvian records for in-depth competition. We have them in pool. Last year in December, I had the pleasure of being invited to judge their first ever competition in Peru. It was in Lima. It was sponsored by the Peruvian Navy, who's very keen on freediving for training their divers. So we had that, and they're really trying to get their program started. Juan is preparing now. He's on the last parts of his countdown. Fingers crossed that ear will equalize for him. It just was kind of getting stuck, he said, in training. I think some of it is nerves. And Jessie, would you like to comment on equalization and tenseness and nerves, about any problems that you have with that?
Oh yeah, I started freediving with a lot of struggles with equalization actually. So a lot of it is related to really the unawareness of our body and tension in the muscles. So sometimes the harder you want it to equalize, you're making it harder for yourself to actually do it. It's really to make a good equalization, the whole body, especially all the muscles around your neck, mouth, and the nasal cavity need to be really relatively relaxed, and then only contract the specific muscles to facilitate that movement. However, sometimes when you're a little nervous, your muscles tend to tense up, and then that adds difficulty to it. Okay, I think right now Juani is getting ready to dive. He wears a pair of fluid goggles, and he's doing a few packs before he goes, just to have a little bit more air to equalize.
And there he goes. All right, let's go, Wani. Equalization and relaxation are two of the key elements in freediving, but when you're in competition, it's extremely hard to be able to obtain that relaxation. One needs to really be at their best. And as you can imagine, whenever you're doing anything,
Oh, it looks like
he's struggling a little bit. Oh, there he
trying to
goes.
equalize.
All right,
with
let's see.
the
He's at
hand.
31 meters right now. His dive time is 33 seconds. Come on, Wani.
Looks like he's got that equalization in. He's still
Yeah.
keep going deeper.
Yeah. Good for Wani.
Maybe it could be a nose clip issue. Sometimes on the dive, for example, if the skin has squaring or something that's slippery, the nose clip might slide off when you add pressure on the nose. So that could be the reason he
Oh,
was
looks like
holding
he's
up.
going to make it.
Touchdown!
Oh, good job, Wani.
Yes,
That's
good job.
great. Oh,
Okay.
if he makes this, he will be so pleased. So, and that's great. And we are really happy to have so many representatives here from Central and South America in this competition this year. It's a nice opportunity for these divers to see what it's like to compete in the World Championships, and this is just great. I'm just very pleased. Let's hope Wani does well here on the surface. His first safety has now come in. He's coming around to the front so that he can give him the signal and let him know where he is. It's always reassuring to
So
see that
he's at
safety.
14 meters, coming up quickly. Oh, just the last two pulls.
There he
There
is.
he is.
Good. Come on, Wani. He's going to take some nice recovery breaths.
He's moving the goggles.
Remove his goggles.
Nose clip.
Nose clip. He's breathing. Gives the sign. And then I'm
Alright.
okay.
His
Oh,
protocol
nice.
looks good. So
Yeah,
let's
nice-
see
Very
how
nice
long
protocol.
took. I think it's within 15 seconds. Let's see what
And
the judges
yes.
say.
And he's got his tag in hand. Very good. Nice job, Wani. See, they both are looking at, the judges are looking at their stopwatch to make sure it was in time, even if it's just one little bit. Nice job, Wani.
White card and national record.
National record for Wani. That's wonderful. He'll be really excited about that, believe me. Oh gosh, nice to see that. 3 white cards in a row. We're off to a very good start here this morning. Now we'll be coming back over to the white platform. Our next diver on that line is Natsuhiro Kojima of Japan. He goes by the name Hiro. He has been competing for a while. He comes to Vertical Blue, and so we are familiar with him. And he has announced 57 meters and dive time of 2 minutes and 15 seconds. You can see Hiro is wearing a full wetsuit. And this, some people like to wear a hood, and some people do not. Others, like Juan Carlos, who we said didn't have a wetsuit on at all. There's no rule about it. You can do whatever you're most comfortable with. And
Carla, is there any material that is banned for freediving use?
No.
Like swimming? No?
no, there is not. And that was one thing for the pool that was an advantage for freedivers, in that the suits that were banned in swimming in the pool became obsolete for swimmers, and we were able to purchase them very inexpensively to use for dynamic apnea. For buoyancy, it doesn't matter for us because, you know, we wear weights and buoyancy is just part of it, but for swimming, it's an advantage, and that was the problem with those suits, those speed suits that they had. They were buoyant. The swimmer would ride high in the water and give them an advantage, so they FINA decided to outlaw that. I might also mention that since we're waiting here for Hiro to go, that Jesse is a very accomplished pool competitor as well. Some of you who are new to our sport and maybe just tuning in here may not realize that we have 2 specific divisions of freediving. We have this part, which is in the ocean, and this year our World Championships are the Depth World Championships. Next year we will be having the Pool World Championships and the Team World Championships. The team event is combined of pool and depth, and that is based on competitors from each country competing against each other for points. So Jessie is extremely accomplished and has a very long breath hold in static, and is also very good in the dynamic events. So she is one of our competitors that competes in both arenas. We have some who are just specialists that only do depth or pool, but Jessie likes to do both. So
Still learning and trying to have fun with everything. Yeah?
yeah.
Okay, so thanks, Carla, for mentioning that. Now let's see our diver, Hiro.
Yes.
Hiro, yeah, he is breathing in a vertical position. It seems like so far the 3 divers we have today all choose to breathe up in a vertical position. And I think his teammates from Japan are there to coach him. I saw them together this
it
morning.
looks like he has a coach there, yes.
Now, I always wondered if divers choose to breathe up in the vertical position, holding their body up with the arm, would it add a lot of, stress in that muscle there? Sometimes they use a floating device like a noodle to sit under to add buoyancy to make it more easy, but it doesn't seem to be the case for Hero. So
Hero has left the surface now and is now doing his descent. Down at 11 meters and a 16-second dive time.
Yeah.
We do keep an eye on the dive time related to the depth, because that gives us an idea if the diver is on time, and if they're slow, it may be an indication that they're struggling a little bit. So we do keep a close eye on that. That's important as a safety consideration.
Yeah, so his pulls are slowing down a little bit, getting longer pulls. When he started, he was doing frequent short pulls, sometimes to find buoyancy and get speed up.
He's at 35 meters and starting his free fall kind of late, a little bit. Would you say 35 meters is a little late to start, Jessie? Or
for me, it wouldn't be late actually, because I pull all the way to 50.
Oh, okay.
It really
good
depends on the
too.
personal preference, how they train and how much weight they're using. Oh, it looks like he's got a bit of equalization issue.
He's
he had to turn around.
Yeah, he's coming back up. Well, that's unfortunate for Hero. He did arrive here late. He's only been here a couple of days, and considering the travel time from Japan, the jet lag and just the being tired can really affect everything.
Yes. And when he was breathing up, I did see that he was a little tense. Maybe that had affected his equalization.
But he hasn't had a chance to really get into the swing of things or adjust to the time zone yet, and that may have affected him negatively on this dive as well. Safeties are both with him now. He's coming up, and we'll see. He's removing his goggles, nose clip. He gives the signal.
Very good surface protocol.
Yeah, very good. He's fine. I'm sure he'll be disappointed that looks like his ear's stuck and he didn't get to continue the whole way. As we were saying yesterday, in the event of an early turn like that, which is always a good idea if you're not feeling right or your ears are sticking. Sometimes you just have to do that. It's better to be safe than sorry in that issue. You get credit for the number of meters you did achieve, and then the difference between that and your announced dive time, if that is subtracted as a penalty, plus 1 point for having no tag. So that's how that's judged. So, but it's better to get some points than no points, so he will get some points for that dive. I'm not sure exactly where he turned. The judges will look at the official gauge and it will say, and that will be the depth that he is awarded for that dive. So now, coming up on the blue platform, we have Marc-Andre Pichet of Canada. And this is the first time I have met Mark. He's a new diver, and we're certainly glad to have him. He's announced 65 meters in 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yeah. Carla, I had a lovely conversation with Mark after one of the training days. He is one of the very talented hands-free equalizers. And he was telling me how he kind of self-taught and trained to get to do that. I think that's amazing.
Some of those people I'm so envious of. It's one thing that you can either do or you can't. For some people, no matter how you work on it, it'll just never happen. And it's fabulous, though. I've had students that come in and I'll say, "Oh, are you having any trouble equalizing?" And they say, "What's that?" And then you realize it just happens for them automatically.
He believes, though, that one can teach oneself to do that. He lives in Montreal, where ocean is a bit far away for him.
Yes.
And he was saying that he practiced equalizing all the time, so which really shows his passion for freediving.
Yes.
And it's just lovely to see him here diving in warm water in Roatan.
Oh, I know he had a journalist here who had contacted. They're doing a little story on him, and so it's a big thing in Japan and Canada for him to be here representing Canada. And he's our only Canadian diver in this particular competition, so we're really glad to have him. And
Yeah, we do have a photographer from Montreal,
yes,
Alex and John.
Yes. So yeah, it's great. So as Jesse was noting before, our first divers we had were all breathing upright. Now we have Marc-Andre breathing up on his back. He seems like he looks like he's, you know, very comfortable out there right now.
Yes.
So did you happen to ask him, is this one of his preferred events, or do you know anything about what?
That I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, we were having
He's the first diver of the day who did not wear a mask or goggle, right?
yes. Yes, he's got no mask on, but he has a nose clip, and that's also diver preference. The difference with that is then in regards to the protocol that we have to do, the surface protocol, is that the timing of the 15 seconds.
All right.
And Marc-Andre is off. Anyway, let me finish that one thought. Then, when the diver comes up, if they have no goggles on, the first item on the list for the protocol then will be removing the nose clip, and that's when the protocol officially begins. All right, Jesse.
All right, Mark is on his way down. Very nice and relaxed pose. He is going a little bit slow compared to the average speed, I would say. So at about dive time 27 seconds, he's at 17 meters. But he's really tall and thin. You know, he's got that physique that kind of suggests that he has a good breath hold. So, and he's really relaxed. So in this way, maybe that's the way he prefers to dive.
Maybe that's how he prefers to. Looks like he's gone into his free fall now. Looks like he's very relaxed.
Very good hydrodynamic. Now his descent speed is actually faster than where he started.
Yeah, it's a nice body position.
And extra pull.
Probably a little anxious there to get to the plate.
Maybe.
Up, he's going
Early
to turn.
Sorry, and it must be due to equalization issues there.
Everything looked fine, and then he just suddenly turned, so it must just be that maybe an ear stuck or something like that. But it's on its way back now. 35 meters. Maybe some competition nerves as well, being that it's the first discipline. I think everyone's a little more nervous once you get one done. You maybe feel a little better. Do you think that is the case for you, Jesse?
I think it also varies from person to person. I grew up in China in an extremely competitive environment, even though I myself, I don't think deep down I'm a competitive person, but I was trained to be that way, to deal with the exams and competitions. Okay, here mark comes out.
Well, his protocol is
Right,
very
super
strong.
clean for him.
Yeah.
He's
So
a
it
little bummed
obviously,
out.
he just pointed to his ear. He had a stuck ear. That's
Yeah.
unfortunate because he's obviously very strong on that dive.
Yeah.
He just got a stuck ear. Yeah. Well, hopefully he'll get another shot in constant rate and he'll be able to overcome that problem.
Right.
So, yeah. But yeah, and he's looking at his gauge to see how far he went. The judges they will look at the gauge. That's a yellow card. Means that's a penalty for turning early. But nice dive from
Nice
Mark.
dive
It looked
from
very
Mark.
nice. It certainly was lovely to watch. All right, coming
Looks
up.
like he enjoyed the dive.
He did, yeah, he seems to.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to be too upset about it. That's great. Over on the white platform now, we're going to have Damian Scafaro from Argentina. He has competed here before in the Caribbean Cup, and we're looking forward to seeing him dive. The Argentinians have sent several representatives. We have Ricky Montans, who is the national record holder, Bella de la Vega, who is the women's national record holder, Alejandro Andres, who is an AIDA instructor and judge and safety diver, and so we're very glad to have them. They are all from the southern part of Argentina, where the water is extremely cold and rough, and so they don't get much chance there to dive. They all have to come somewhere else in order to do so. So, I know Jesse's familiar with that. Your options in China are very limited. So
Yes, but gladly we have really good pool facilities.
Oh,
right?
good.
And we have a aquarium pool that's 15.8 meters deep. A lot of divers go from all over the country to do their first intro freediving class and get their first certification there.
That's nice.
And I believe there are also some new pool facilities being built in China that's going to be deeper. And then it's not far from Philippines or Bali, these kind of good diving destinations.
where you can go,
Yeah.
and that's where you had your Chinese nationals this year. Is that correct? In
It's actually happening in the. You're talking about the depth.
Yes, the
nationals.
depth
Yes, the
national.
first Chinese depth national competition will be hosted in Panglao in September. It's right after the World Championship.
very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes for those of us who are from areas that just don't have optimal water, ocean conditions, we have to go somewhere else. In the U.S., our best option is Hawaii. We do have warm water in Florida, but it tends to be quite windy and rough and unpredictable, to the point where we've had a couple competitions there, and it was so windy that we couldn't do it. So
Yeah, since you mentioned the Chinese national,
Yes.
just like to point out that we have a really good diver in China. His name is Sando.
Yes.
A lot of people don't know him because he always competes in Panglao, and I'm
Uh-huh.
sure Sando you're watching. So
Yes, yes.
I hope someday you get to come out here and then be with us, Team China.
I believe he just was in the Panglao competition that was just been taking place now, wasn't he?
Yes.
Competing in that? I
Yes.
saw his
and
name
he's
on the
actually
list.
the organizer in joint with Super Home in Panglao to organize the
that's
Chinese
great.
national. Nice. Okay, so
Okay, so here we go on the white platform with Damian Scarpalo, as we have said, of Argentina. He's doing a 70-meter dive in a dive time of 2 minutes and 30 seconds. He's breathing up on his back. He's got one noodle in the front, and he is getting ready to go.
Damian, he's a very talented graphic designer,
Mm.
and he's heavily involved also in the organization of the Caribbean Cup and the World Championship in Roatan. So,
And here he goes. He's got that long. Oh, he's moving quite quickly. He's pulling himself down quite quickly.
good speed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like he's going to do one big pull and get himself into
Yeah.
his descent.
He's
Into,
starting his free fall with one hand as a guide on the rope.
got a nice long lean line to him.
Yeah. Very nice fall so far. Okay. He's going at average of a meter a second.
Which is a good speed for men. It's women don't go quite as fast. We don't sink as quickly as men do because
It looks
of
like
the
he's
body
holding on to
density.
the carabiner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here is plate.
There he
Touchdown for
is.
Damian.
Good. He's securing the tag. Looks like he put it into his hood. And he will be coming back to the surface here. Dive time is 1:27. Coming back up. Moving quickly.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think his movement is quite fluid. Yeah.
Sometimes it can be a little distracting for the diver, Jesse, if there's wind.
Safety
and-
is
and moving.
inside.
Yep, there's the safety. second safety, giving him a signal.
Yeah, we're having a little bit of surface wind here.
Yeah, and then sometimes if that makes the line move, does that bother you in free immersion, Jesse?
It definitely does, because the
Yeah.
platform rocks, and then sometimes you feel the rope is pulling you up, sometimes you pull and nothing happens.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
All right, let's see
And
Damian
here
how he does.
comes. Up.
He's on the surface, breathing.
He's not wearing any goggles, so his protocol
He's
will
looking
begin.
strong. He took off the nose clip.
clip.
Okay, so good job, Damian. Looks like it's going to be a white card for him. He did wipe his face before he gave the okay sign. Let's see what the judges say.
Yes.
So at the event committee meeting, the judges did say that they will allow one wipe of the face for the water, but not twice.
Yes.
So
Well, and actually, that's the spirit of the rule is to determine if the diver is lucid and cognizant of what's going on. If they seem to be doing a lot of odd movements, it could mean that they're really not quite there. So nice job,
nice
Damian.
job,
Nice,
Damian.
that was a nice dive. White card on 70 meters. I'm sure he'll be very pleased with that.
Yeah.
That was very nice. Coming up on the
he
blue.
lives here. I'm sure all the people on island who know Damian are going to be so stoked
Oh,
about
that's
his
great.
dive.
I'm sure. Yes, and I hope you're all tuning in to watch him this morning. I'm sure he's very pleased that you're here. Coming up on the blue platform now, we have Amerigo Moran. He is from Guatemala, and he's announced also 70 meters and a dive time of 2:45. We have two representatives from Guatemala here. It's very nice to have our Central Americans joining us this time.
Is this the first time Guatemala
Yes.
athletes join the AIDA
Yes.
World Championship?
Yeah, it's great. And they are trying to start their own group now. And as you know, with AIDA China, they start off as an observer member, try to get themselves together, get some instructors and judges, and then they can apply for full membership, in which case they get to vote and participate in all these events and really take part in organizational decisions and things like that. So we are very pleased. We've been growing very quickly in the last few years, especially in Asia and Central and South America. So we have new people, and we're really pleased with that. So Amerigo is part of that, and it's really great to see him here. And you know, he's already an accomplished diver doing 70 meters in free immersion. So
Yes, he's been doing so good since he got here in training and in the Caribbean Cup. So he did a successful dive free immersion, 68 meters in the Caribbean Cup just earlier this week.
yes,
And that was really good news for the team Guatemala, and I think he is now today trying for a new national record 2 meters deeper than his previous one. So let's see how he does.
yeah. I'm sure that his training and those successful dives in the Caribbean Cup gave him some confidence in order to move this up now. I'm sure this is his personal best as well at the 70-meter dive. So
Yeah, given
So
that
that's
the
great.
Caribbean Cup just happened, yeah,
yes,
it's most likely.
yeah. So that's great.
And the other athlete from Guatemala is actually his brother.
Oh.
From the same family. And they help each other
Oh,
in the
that's
competition. Yeah, it's very nice to see family members come together.
And Amerigo is off. Hey, Ren. Float. Can't see. So Amerigo is going down. Jesse, take a look at his technique here and give us a little description of what you think is going on here with Amerigo today.
He's pulling down at about a meter a second, pretty good speed as well. Good long arm pulls, glide between pulls now because he's starting to sink a little bit. And now his body is a little bit sideways. Yeah, it's not as straight as it could be, so that'll slow him down a little bit. But he's still sinking nicely. And he's free falling with one arm on the rope.
And there he goes. He seems relaxed though, and it doesn't seem to be struggling at all. So He's at 56 meters currently, dive time just over 1 minute. And
Okay.
coming down to the plate.
He heard the alarm,
Yes.
and then doing a very nice turn at the bottom.
Coming up, for those of you new divers, it's quite a help to have your own gauge that you wear, and you set an alarm somewhere 3 to 5 meters before the plate so that you're not just dreaming along and run right into it. I've got a whole bunch of gauges on here.
He's
today.
waving at the camera.
There he is.
He's giving a
Look at him.
shotgun to the
Oh gosh, well,
dive
he's
eye.
obviously feeling great. That's super.
Okay, he's at 30 with safety now.
The safety divers have a very important and difficult job here. They have to do many, many dives a day, so they have to make sure they're in really good shape and really know what they're doing, because it's extremely important, the job they do, because if the diver is suffering any kind of uncomfortableness or anything, they are right there to take care of them. But it is a lot of responsibility, and they have to be very good and diligent.
Okay,
And here he
exiting.
comes. He's breathing, removing his nose clip.
Looks very clean.
Oh, he's great.
Very nice dive.
Very
Amerigo.
nice.
So we're just waiting for the judge to give him the white card to make the national record 70 meters official.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, as Carla was talking about the safety divers, yeah, these guys and girls are working so hard here, and we already had 2 safety divers that are
And it's a white card. Nice job, Amerigo. I'm sure he'll be very pleased with that.
Yeah.
So, new national record for Guatemala.
yeah,
It's wonderful.
wonderful day.
Hey, Kate.
Hey. Yeah, we had 2 safety divers. They all had injuries on their hands and foot and cuts that were, they were still working so hard in the water, and then the wound starts getting infected, and they had to take days off for that. Yeah,
We have a
so-
big safety team here. It's required. We also have a very large safety budget in order to pay for that. That's one thing when you're planning a competition. If you decide to do one on your own, that is one of the first things you have to do is plan for those safeties and how much it's going to cost to get them there, take care of them, house them, and feed them. It's extremely important. We also have 2 doctors here, very good doctors. We have Dr. Hector Ruiz from Mexico City and Dr. Jose Blanco from Bogota, Colombia. Both emergency doctors, and it's another thing that for all depth competitions, you're required to have doctors with certifications that they know how to take care of a patient out in the field, and we have a list of required equipment which goes with that as well. Right now we have a Kate Middleton joining us.
Morning,
the
Kate.
New Zealand
Say hi to
champion.
everybody at the camera.
Hi.
There.
So Kate, how are you? Have you been following some of the dives here this morning?
Well, I just arrived out to the platform just a few minutes ago, so I've seen Amerigo surface on his last dive, and I'm excited to see the rest of the divers on the dive eye.
Great. Coming up on the white platform right now, we have Brian Allemeyer from the U.S. He's announced a 70-meter dive and a dive time of 2:25. He is one of our divers here joining us, I believe, from Hawaii, and he's breathing up on his back.
Brian is a new U.S. freediver, competitive freediver. I heard he has just started freediving January this year.
Oh, very good.
I'm not sure if he had been doing any kind of spearfishing or like fun diving before that, but he's been doing so well that he is now doing a 70-meter dive today.
That is
He was
excellent.
actually training and doing a lot of dives in Egypt this year. Did a safety for Vertical Blue. I don't know if you remember him from
I do
the
remember,
Blue Hole.
yeah.
Okay, he's about to start his dive.
All right, here he goes. And Brian is off. Does he live in Canada?
He is from a very interesting place.
Okay.
He is from the mid-USA, Indianapolis, where I went to graduate school. And it's just such a small world that you would have two people coming from Indianapolis here.
Yeah. Right.
He is starting. He's pretty far, equalizing. So there's no water to dive near Indianapolis, so he has decided to move and then come to Egypt or the tropical islands to dive and pursue his passion.
Yeah. We have another American who will be diving later today, Brandon Hendrickson, and he's from Kansas, which is dead center in the U.S. He's a lake spear fisherman, and that's how he got started, but there's no ocean anywhere near Kansas. So how is he looking today? How's Brian looking, girls?
Okay, what do you think?
He looks relaxed. His whole free fall looked really smooth. He's easily made it to the bottom. And he looks strong and relaxed as he starts to surface. Looks like a nice dive so far. Safeties will be there to meet him soon. There's the first safety.
Yeah, I think it's a pleasure to watch him dive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Amazing.
We've just had Damian step in to join us here. He's finished breathing up some oxygen, and as soon as we finish this dive, we'll be getting some words from him on his dive today. And Brian is coming up to the surface now. Both safeties are with him, photographers all with him. And there he is.
He's turning around looking at the judges.
Judge, right at the judge. Nice okay sign.
Looks like it was easy for
He
him.
made that dive very easy.
Pulling off that tag with some panache. Yeah, it looks like he'll be very pleased with that. And we'll get
He used Velcro around the neck with it. I think.
yeah, he had some Velcro on there to secure the tag. That's individual preference as to where one wants to keep the tag.
Okay, we have an athlete.
White card, excellent job.
Yeah, we have an athlete, Damian, who just did a successful white card, 70 meters. So let's ask Damian, what
Hello,
do you
guys.
think? What do you think about your dive?
Good was a really enjoyed dive this time. I was in the Caribbean Cup also. I was going deep, but I was feeling not really relaxed. So I was deciding to announce 5 meters less. So yes, it was really good. I'm happy.
Yeah, well done.
I just competing in the World Championship in free immersion. This is the only modality that I used to train. I live here on the island, so maybe for the next year I put my fins and I start trying another modality.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thanks.
We have 2 more minutes before the other athletes go. So, is there any particular reason why you chose to practice free immersion only this year?
No, really, I am really a close friend of Esteban, and we started doing freediving time ago, and this is the first modality that when we meet freedivers, they teach us, free immersion. But then in the next Caribbean Cup, I saw that exists constant weight, constant no fins. I say, oh, I will try. But when I tried this time, for me it was super hard. Constant no fin was super hard because I don't come from swimming pool, nothing. But I love the ocean.
Your dive certainly look beautiful.
Thanks, Jessie, thanks. So yes, this is why I starting with free immersion, really. No for other reason, no? Maybe next year I pull my fins.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing that.
I am planning to do.
Okay,
Thanks, Hers.
so who is our next diver here? After Brian, it should be Alfredo. Alfredo is from Ecuador.
Thank you, Hers.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, Alfredo Rosado is from Ecuador, and he competed with us in the San Andreas competition in Colombia. That he is been competing in CMAS for a number of years, and now he's wanted to move over to AIDA, and we're very happy to have him. The exciting news about Alfredo is he is kind of getting the Ecuador group back on track again with his daughter Valentina, and they are going to be hosting a depth comp in the Galapagos.
Wow.
I knew I'd get that.
All the places.
So I know that would be, there he goes, there goes Alfredo. And Alfredo has announced a dive of 75 meters in 2 minutes and 15 seconds. So I'm sure when he announces that competition, there will be a lot of people that want to go and dive with seals and hammerhead sharks and penguins and marine iguanas and all the other things the Galapagos has to offer. So
Okay,
how's
I'm
he
going
looking?
there this year. Yeah. So, what do you think about his descent, Kim?
It looks like he's started his free fall. Oh, just about. Now he's slowing down his pulls as he descends, picking up a little bit of speed. He looks relaxed. He is spinning around the rope a little bit, as you can see. That will slow you down a little bit, but as long as you relax through it, it shouldn't affect the dive. It looks like he's trying to kick a little bit to maintain his streamlined position.
Touchdown.
Having a little trouble with the plate, but he's
Yeah, he looked relaxed all the way down to you, yeah? Yeah, for people who don't know Kate, she is a pro in free immersion this discipline. She's gold medal winner of the free immersion in vertical blue, right, this year. Congrats, Kate. So, Fredo is coming on the way up.
His dive speed is pretty slow, but he looks relaxed, so maybe that's just his style.
Alfredo is awesome. Vamos Ecuador.
Wow,
He looks good on the surface.
very strong, very clear.
Yeah. Okay, so we have now Amerigo from Guatemala joining us here.
Hello girls, how are you?
Hey, hey, white card for Alfredo.
Alfredo, I'm very happy for Alfredo.
So Amerigo, you just did a national record again in free
Yes.
immersion. Congrats! Was that
Thank
a
you very
PB?
much. I feel very happy.
Yeah, was that a PB?
Yes, no, I did 70 meters like 3 days ago.
Okay,
So I
that's
repeated,
confidence.
yes.
That's awesome.
Yes. I don't
yeah.
like to announce PBs on the comp. I just go for what I feel comfortable.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell us about your dive.
Well, it was very good. In the morning, I feel a bit stressed out, feel all the pressure. But then I got here early. I start doing my relaxing, and I feel very comfortable. It was really nice dive. Normally, I have problems with the compensation for the last 10 meters, but this time I didn't. So I feel very happy. And I grabbed the tag and start pulling up. I did it quicker than I expected. I announced 2:45, and I think it was like 2:20. So
What do you know why? What?
because
made you
I
faster
feel
today?
very comfortable, and I was very focused, so I was not losing time on my pulls or fighting in the last meters. I just go straight and come up, so it was faster.
Glad you had
Yes.
fun time. How is it like for you and your brother to represent Guatemala?
We're very happy, yes, to set the records and to start breaking them. We really like it. I've been dreaming to come to this camp like for a lot of years.
Yeah.
I've been here as a spectator before, just to watch and learn, but I was not able to do it because I was studying a lot and have some work to do. But this time I have the whole month, so I came here early and I train, and I do it the way I want it, so I decided to sign up. Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much,
The
girls.
record.
Gracias.
Yes.
See you later.
Will we be seeing you in the other disciplines?
Constant weight.
Okay.
No nothings.
Okay.
Yes, I didn't have time for all of them, so I focus on one discipline. Yes, and the constant weight, I'm not really deep, but I want to participate. Yes.
Great. Okay, well, we'll see you there.
Gracias.
Okay.
Adios. Bye, everyone.
So we looks like we have a DNS on the white platform. For Marcus. So now the next diver is gonna be actually in another 6 minutes on the blue platform, Ken Kiriyama. So in the meantime, let's invite Brian.
What's up, ladies?
One of our youngest divers who are doing amazingly good in our competition here. So Brian,
It's only the beginning.
how was your 70-meter free immersion dive?
Yeah, it was nice. Pretty nervous, first competition dive ever. World champs, you know. Of course, it's going to be a little nerve-wracking.
Yes, you just
but-
sign up for World Championship as your first competition.
Yeah.
Like, it's no big deal. I
Yeah,
got it.
Well, it was like the first one that was close, so
Yeah.
yeah. And it's nice that it's here in the Caribbean because it's very accessible. So yeah, no, the dive was nice. Had a little issue at the end. Had to ride my ears a little bit, but made it. So no issues. Yeah. Heard that 10-meter alarm, and I was just like, oh, thank you. So.
Great. So freediving has taken you to Egypt, Dean's Blue Hole in Bahamas, now Roatan. What's next?
What's next? California. Gonna go start a job. Have to go start working again. But it should be a good time. Northern California, mountains, sea, so everything I like.
Will this be the end of your this competition be the end of the season for you freediving this year?
No, I heard there's a little competition up in Seattle, pool comp. So I was thinking about heading up there, doing I think I'll still be able to get in the pool and do some training, but I think as for depth, next year, maybe, we'll see. So, yeah. Cool. Just wanted to say hi to,
Yeah, say hi to everybody at camera there.
hey, Mom, all the family. They were pretty nervous sending me all these messages and stuff, so.
Hopefully they felt better now that they actually saw you do your dive and know
Yeah.
what you do.
Yeah, exactly. Not jumping off cliffs. All right, I'm gonna
Thank you
go.
so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations
Thanks,
on
and
Thanks.
the
well done,
dive.
Brian.
Yeah, excellent. Good start to the competition. So yes, coming up in the blue platform, we have Ken Kuriyama. Ken is Danish, although he pretty much is I would say, a world citizen. He is constantly traveling. He's been competing in a number of competitions. He's announced a dive today of 81 meters in a dive time of 2 minutes and 44 seconds. Ken sometimes struggles with equalization and some other issues. Let's hope today he is problem-free. So he will be starting at 9:48, so we still have a couple of minutes. And we are very exact on timing. If people want to know, it's not like you can just go whenever you feel like it. That you're assigned a dive time, and you will start at exactly that time. The time is determined by the internet time, like the time that's on your phone. And when that official top hits, you have exactly 29 seconds to start. So anything later than that, you're disqualified, but it is always on time. If there's some kind of a problem, like with the platform, the line, or some other issue, there may be a delay, but that is announced, and we hope that doesn't happen. Sometimes it does, and safety is always the first consideration, so if we have to delay because of a safety issue, we will. But generally, we try to stay right on time.
Mm-hmm. Ken is a very experienced competitor, is he?
Yes, he is, yes.
As far as I know, Ken is also a yoga instructor. He teaches pranayama.
1 minute 30 now till Ken's beginning. We've got Johnny Sunex on board with us this morning, and we're glad to have him helping with our commentary. He'll be presenting a male point of view. It's been a little bit female dominated this morning with our better looking girls, though I must say, Johnny, no offense to you, but I think that Kate and Jesse got a few things on you.
I don't think there'll be any complaints from the spectators.
Okay, 1 minute before Ken starts his dive. Some days I see Ken in training, and I'm very impressed by him because he's very dedicated in training, and he does really a lot of repetitions and hard dives. Yeah, some days he do like multiple 50 no-fin dives, and that would never be possible for me.
30 seconds to go. He looks very relaxed and comfortable. He's in no rush to start.
Yeah, Ken is a very seasoned competitor. I think he'd been competing for several years before even I came on the scene. And I trained a bit with him when I was living in Denmark at Copenhagen Freediving Club. And yeah, Ken is a very knowledgeable freediver, and he has a nice way to go about his training. He's always very keen to share his experiences. So Ken starts his descent amidst quite a bit of surface waves coming from maybe a boat, passing boat, and he's looking calm and relaxed on his way down, nice and smooth. This is exactly what we want to see during the initial part of the descent. It's a nice, smooth and relaxed motion, makes it easier for your equalizing. And now he's entered his free fall. So Jesse, what goes through your mind as you're free falling? I noticed that your dive times are quite long, so there's quite a bit of time to be thinking. So
yes, free falling. I did it last year in Dingsbucho. That's when I started to learn free fall because it's so dark there, and I couldn't see anything. So I had to fall like what Ken's doing with my hand on the line. And then I noticed every time I fall, my body is sideways, crooked a little bit. So this year I started to try to free fall without touching the line.
Oh, it looks like they've had an equalization issue, and he's on his way back to the surface.
Yeah. Oh.
So that's a little disappointing for Ken. He's an athlete with excellent breath hold capacity, And he always seems to do these dives with relative ease.
Yeah. So to finish your question, so now I just started to try to learn free fall without touching the line, maybe just a month ago, at least, like after I got here. So it's like learning how to drive a car at the beginning. It's kind of like you have to fine tune here and there, like turn left and right, turn forward, backwards, because I'm very busy doing that actually.
Okay, so you're consciously thinking about how your body is
at the moment. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope someday it'll become autopilot like you guys.
I'm sure it will, Jesse. And Ken looking very smooth. He's now with his safety divers. Yeah, beautiful ascent. Nice steady rhythm. Getting a nice glide off of each stroke. And he should be approaching positive buoyancy. He's now above 15 meters, above 10 meters. Final couple of strokes and we'll see Ken breaking the surface. Here he goes. He's looking for the judges. Very much in control. Nice smooth surface protocol. And that will be a yellow card for Ken. Kate, do you want to explain how the point system works?
So the day before your competition dive, and as an athlete, you announce the target dive that you're going for. So Ken announced 81 meters, and if you reach the bottom with no problems, then you'll get the full points, 81 points for that dive. Because he turned early, and I don't know the exact depth he turned at, but I think it was around 74. His realized depth will be subtracted from his announced performance, and those points will be subtracted from his realized depth. So if he turned at 74 meters and he announced 81, that's 7 meters or 7 points that will be subtracted from that 74 meter performance.
Maybe 67.
And he'll get 1 minus point or 1 penalty point because he did not bring a tag back up with him.
That's around 66 for Ken.
Okay.
Oh, and just as an aside for all of you, if you happen to really have a big difference, you cannot receive negative points. The lowest you can get is a 0.
So for example, with Adam's dive the other day where he had a national record announcement of 91 or 92 meters, and unfortunately he had a packing blackout within 2 meters. So in that situation, we can't take all of the points away from him. He would get, what would he receive? Just 0 points?
0 points.
Okay.
Thanks, Carla.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Hopefully we'll see him get that national record a little later today.
That's right. He's coming up sometime this morning. How long until that dive?
He's at 10:24, so about another 30 minutes until he dives.
Cool. So Adam Stern, one of the crowd favorites and very famous man on Instagram and YouTube these days. So if you're looking forward to watching his performance, 10:24, and he's going for 92 meters, which will be a new national record for Australia. Who have we got on this line?
Coming up is
Piero Jobi from Sweden, and he was actually the winner of the Caribbean Cup this year. So he was consistent with his performances, 3 white cards. Okay, some of the guys like Alexei and William announced much bigger performances, but didn't do all 3 of the disciplines. So that left the door open for Piero to come and take the gold medal.
He had strong performances in all 3 disciplines as well.
So consistency is important.
As I was doing the research yesterday to see what athletes are doing and in preparation for today, I noticed that he actually didn't have his gear bag during the Caribbean Cup. So his gear bag was lost by the airlines. So in Caribbean Cup, he was actually diving with Ken Kiriyama's
borrowed gear.
So that's
all the more
extra
impressive.
hard, when you don't have your personal equipment with you and everything you're customized to. And in a world like freediving, so personal and so ritual and
that's
that's a thumbs up to Piero.
Notice how streamlined he is in his technique. He keeps that arm close by his side.
One of the interesting points that I've noticed with the addition of the dive eye is actually how far down some of the athletes are pulling. Like many of the athletes are pulling 35, 40, even up to 50 meters before they start their free fall. Myself, I'll start my free fall around 25 to 30 meters, meaning that I can start my relaxation period a little bit sooner. These guys are pulling a bit further, meaning that they'll be faster through that initial period. So yeah, different strategies employed.
What's your preference, Kate?
Well, in places like Dean's Blue Hole, I'm happy starting my free fall a little bit earlier because there's no concern of current being pulled away from the rope. But diving in the open ocean, I like to pull a little bit further. I usually don't pull or kick anywhere past about 40 meters though.
Okay, so he's just grabbed the tag and he's on his way up. He's still placing it. Okay, a few kind of kicks and looks like he's finally placed that tag inside his hood. So now he's on his way back to the surface, settling into a nice rhythm, and yeah, he's looking good. So Kate, did you have to modify your stroke count, say, between here and the open ocean when you're diving gillies, or more or less the same?
It's more or less the same, actually. I find I have to add a little bit of weight to my neck weight. I'm more buoyant here than back home in Indonesia, but otherwise it's quite similar.
Okay, and I guess you work these things out in the initial days of arriving to a location.
Exactly.
So a few pointers for anyone new to competing or new to diving in different locations. It always pays to spend the first few training sessions acclimatizing and working out exactly how you want your buoyancy. Okay, he's now with the safety divers. Still looking good. Slowed down a little bit. Maybe starting to get a little bit tired.
Do you see his wetsuit is
come undone?
Yeah.
Oh. So he may be getting a bit of water flow through the suit.
Not a problem here, the water's so warm. Shouldn't disrupt this dive.
The safety diver nicely in front of the dive eye. And he's reaching the surface.
Looks very clean.
Very fast protocol.
Very fast.
You can see I'm looking at Judge John Wright from Australia. Sorry, New Zealand. I'm never going to hear the end of that. John is currently based in Singapore, and I believe he runs freediving trips to Bali sometimes. And now we're lucky to have him here at the World Champs. And white card for Piero. Woo! 82 meters, 3 minutes and 3 seconds. So white card for Sweden.
Piero actually has a very interesting neck weight. Did you notice?
No, I haven't seen it.
His neck weight is with multiple small weights kind of threaded together. And
Like fishing weights.
maybe when he comes up here, we can ask him about that.
Coming up next, Alejandro Andres from Argentina, who has announced 86 meters. He's got 1 minute and 30 seconds until his dive will start. So we've got Ken Kiriyama here. I wonder if Ken wants to join us for a few comments. All right, I'll let you girls interview Ken.
Hey
Hey.
Ken, how was your dive today?
Not that good. I think I didn't really enter my best zone to be completely relaxed, and then I lost probably some air leaked from the mouth in the mouth feel, and eventually ran out of air. Had to turn. Yeah.
Observing you here on the dive eye, you look really relaxed and smooth on the whole way down, so there wasn't anything that we saw. Do you feel
Something internal.
Yeah.
Externally, you look beautiful.
Yeah, I try to be, fluid and relaxed and focus on technique and yeah, just dive with good sensations. But sometimes it's the deep equalization technique doesn't work out as you want it. So the mouth feel technique, but it's okay. I'm alright. We have another day.
we have more dives to come, right?
Yeah.
Any insight as to what we can look forward to with your diving over the next few days?
You know that's top secret, Johnny.
Will you be doing both of the other two disciplines?
I have to decide today about constant weight with the monofin. For sure I'm gonna do the no fins, but I haven't been training that much constant weight, and I didn't feel that good, though. Actually, that was the only white card I got in the Caribbean Cup with 81. So let's see. I might do it just to get the third dive in. Yeah. Yeah. And how do you guys enjoy the view here and the depth view?
It's amazing.
We've got special insight as to what's happening on everybody's dives. It's a
now
really
you know what we're all doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No more secrets.
Hand to the mouth and all that. Right.
So it's a beautiful tool, and it's really going to help to spread the word about freediving.
Yeah,
and,
it's amazing.
It's turning it into a spectator sport.
Yeah.
You know, like live spectator sport.
Yeah.
So hopefully anyone from ESPN, if you're watching, get hold of Dive or
get hold of
Get
us.
hold of
Get
me,
hold of them.
so I can pay for it to come to our competitions, please.
that's right. Carla Sue Hansen, AIDA International
Yeah,
President.
I also think this was the last drop, the last missing link to really get the sport out there. You might want to comment on this one actually, because now he's dead.
Okay, so Alejandro is settled into his free fall well and truly. He's looking very relaxed. If we look at his body position, he's spinning around the rope a little. And I'd say that's partly to do with his head and his arm position. He's kind of leant off to the side as opposed to being completely vertical. What do you think, Kate?
Yeah, I think he could have that free arm a little closer to his side, and he's holding his lanyard to stay close to the rope, which I used to do in the past. And it's quite comforting to feel that you're that close to the line. But he does sure seem to be spinning a lot. Did you feel much water movement on your dive down there again?
But in saying that, look at that, he's touched down.
He got it all the way.
Equalizer gives us a little okay signal all the way down at the bottom. He's coming up.
Very
He's
nice.
coming up fast. Look at that. He's getting really good distance with each stroke.
Better cover the first distance a little bit fast and then slow down. But that's good.
So
Yeah,
what?
no, I didn't feel any current or anything. But to be safe, I had contact with the line, which I prefer not to. But the other day, I got pulled away from the line suddenly, and I thought I better just have contact. But I prefer just to have both hands on the thighs and free fall.
Okay, cool. So Alejandro is now above 50 meters. Interesting point about Alejandro, he's never had a samba or a blackout on any of his performances. So another very, very strong diver who in the past I guess has just been limited by equalization. Equalization was no issue today, sailing down to the plate. He should be approaching his safety divers. He's now at 30 meters and we see the fins of the first safety diver. Okay, so these guys are working really hard, putting in 12-hour days most days. First one's out, last one's back in. So it's a superhuman effort by the safety team.
So you notice the bubbles in the background. Are there photographers, videographers, people down on scuba?
There are, yeah. So there's, we can see some freediving photographers there. There are additional film crew down there on scuba. Alejandro is looking very strong. Very strong protocol. Bravo! He's got quite a crowd of South Americans there, South American supporters. Hey, hey, very vocal. Dale, dale. Waiting for the card. So this is the suspension is. There we go. Oh God.
I think he's been fighting quite a while to get to around 85. So that's a good dive on a day with pressure, definitely. Really good.
National record for Argentina. We'll get Alejandro over here after he's had a chance to breathe some oxygen, and we'll ask him for a few comments. And who have we got breathing up over there, Kate?
Ricardo.
Ricardo Montans?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
He's had a shave.
He has quite the lounge there.
Yes.
Also from Argentina, so this is interesting. He is looking to take the freshly set national record from Alejandro if he gets this dive.
Oh, you're right.
So this might be one of the shortest lived national records on
You
record.
know, actually, Ricardo set the free immersion record to 85 just in the Caribbean Cup a few days ago.
Okay.
Yes.
So the Argentinians are on
they're
fire.
They're on fire, yes. Yeah, Ricardo's been doing so well. He got bronze place in the Caribbean Cup, and he did 2 national records in that competition. In addition to the free immersion, he also did a constant no-fin dive to 61 meters. And then his girlfriend, Belu, is coaching him with a very comfortable luxury float.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's gone all out with that float. He looks like he just needs a beer on the coaster.
If it were any other discipline, I'd be worried about him hitting that float or swimming into it on the duck dive, but because it's free immersion and you just grab the rope and pull yourself straight under, it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, looks like he got a clean start.
There he goes.
There he goes. Oh, what's going on?
Maybe due to packing.
Oh, okay, looks like a loose nose clip, but he's recovered it.
Back in action.
Okay, so a little bit of a hiccup, but with good mental strength, an athlete should be able to overcome these minor problems. He's down past the photographers at 20 meters. Coming down past. Oh no, he's decided. So Alejandro Andres will get to hold on to that record a little bit longer.
He will.
So he'll be a happy man. Disappointment for
sorry
for Ricky.
Yeah.
But he still has a few more dives to come up as well.
Yeah. Ricky has such a positive energy, and you know, when people are around him, he makes everybody happy. And
Yeah, so that's one of the dynamics of the World Championships. You get one shot, and one shot only to make your performance. So, yeah, anything can happen on the day, and you've got to be in to win. So, we can see Kurt Chambers, who will be next up on that dive line. He's got his coach just floating him over, so he's got an extended period of time to chill out and relax, which is going to help him because his taxi was half an hour late to get him here to the dive site, so he arrived a little bit stressed. So now we're happy to see that he's got a bit more time to chill out and relax. And over on dive line number 1, the blue platform, we've got Mathieu Moral from France. And I had the pleasure of having Matt training with us in Dominica for almost 3 months. So we got to know him quite well, and he's a great guy. Beautiful energy, and he's a fantastic diver. So.
yeah, Matt is going for 90 meters today. He has gone deeper in training, so I think he's just
He's being conservative.
Conservative announcement, yeah.
And as we said before, you know, with the dynamic of only getting one chance per day, some divers choose to go conservative, some divers choose to go big. So I guess this is where the individual goals and objectives come into play. And I guess some of the athletes, if they decide they're in with a shot of a medal, then they'll give it their all. Other people will be happy just with a nice, comfortable dive. So, do you girls have any words on that matter? Prefer to go big or prefer to play safe? It depends on the dive, or
It depends on the dive. It depends on the discipline. I find personally, I just have to decide on a number that feels comfortable. I can actually sleep on it. I can show up to do that dive. If I just go for glory and add meters onto my PB, then I'll probably feel the nerves too much before the dive to,
okay. And for you, but you've set personal bests in competition. So have you actually, Kate. So like, you guys can both perform well under pressure. So
I usually use what my emotional experience would be as a guide to decide what I'm announcing, what I'm doing. So, of course, if you feel stressed and pressured or anything, too goal-oriented for kind of big dives and competition, it only makes the dive harder. So, for me, I would actually, kind of see how safe the competition is, how well organized everything is, to influence my decision as well. So if I feel really protected in an environment where everything seems to flow really nice with a good energy, and
you feel more comfortable to push it a little more.
Just announce a PB dive to start.
So that's maybe testament to this competition with the personal best that you've set in the Caribbean Cup and here.
Yes, totally. Yeah. I feel very good here.
So we must be approaching the start time. Still got another minute to go. Matthew relaxing on the surface. He's employing 2 noodles, one under his head, one under his ankles. This was actually my preferred method as well. And I'm breathing up on my back. In this position, I find it's the easiest to completely let go and relax. Kate, how do you breathe up on your back? Or?
I breathe up in a vertical position, supported by a noodle between my legs. Full noodle, sitting on one. I'll stop there.
Kind of an interesting little snorkel thing you do first, and then you switch over.
Yes, that's intermittent. It's the moment I flood my goggles.
I have watched you dive many times, so I'm very familiar with it.
Yes, Carla Hansen is very familiar with all of the surface protocols employed by the athletes. And she's probably the most active AIDA judge, maybe on record, definitely within the last few years. Now 10 seconds over official top, so Matt has probably about 15 more seconds to go to complete his duck dive, submerges airways. So plus 20, he does actually submerge his airways, and he's now underway.
So Matthew was a student of mine at Freedive Gilly, and I remember he was a natural from the beginning. His first static was about 5 minutes or over 5 minutes, and it's been amazing to watch him progress over the years.
Oh, you coached him on that first static?
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
Well done, Kate. Yeah.
So you're giving rise to the new generation.
And then he came and participated in the one competition we've ever held at Freedive Gilly, which was a very small pool competition.
So do you think we can expect more competitions from Freedive Gilly in the future? I noticed that yourself and has Mike joined you on the judges course?
Yeah, we're both on the judges course, so hopefully we'll pass with flying colors, and then...
Big things coming to Freedive Gilly. So what else is happening at Freedive Gilly coming up? I think you've got a yoga instructor trainer.
Yeah, when I get back, I'm running a yoga teacher training, which is a month-long immersive program, and it's focused at developing people's personal practice and their teaching skills for yoga, and we also incorporate freediving, of course.
Excellent. And is this course for anyone, or?
I recommend people have a minimum of 6 months to 1 year of a personal yoga practice, or going to classes at least a few times a week.
Okay, and he has made it. Well done, Matt. Okay, he's taking the time to put the tag into his hood. He's now starting his ascent.
Did he take a nose clip off at the bottom? I saw the
He did something.
movement.
I don't know if it was an okay or if it was a...
I'm wondering if he took the nose clip off at the very bottom here.
We'll find out when he gets to the surface, won't we? So he started off with much smaller and faster strokes, and now that he's up around the 60-meter mark, he's starting to extend his glide and reaching up a little bit further. So this is a technique that I also employ when I'm doing my deeper free immersion dives. can help you to reduce risk of barotrauma, okay, minimizing the length of the stroke. And then as you start to get a little bit further up in the water column, you can start to glide a little bit more. It's now with safety at 35 meters, so safety dive is going down quite deep on this one. It's looking strong and comfortable, beautiful rhythm and flow, nice streamlining of the legs. Second safety. Okay, and if you look at the body position of the safety divers, they sit just a little bit below him. Okay, this means that if there are any issues, it's easy for them to get in and pick him up. If they were slightly above him, they'd have to try and go back down, which would fight against the buoyancy. Okay. Oh, and he's having a momentary nap. The safety team are on him. And
Safety
he's
teams
back.
are basically supporting his head out of water, and
He's back with us.
And he is okay.
yes, on the platform we have the doctors right there, ready to act if there were any other issues with the diver, and then Dr. Hector is observing the diver very closely right now.
So it was a beautiful dive by Matt, but unfortunately he was just a little bit hypoxic on the surface. As you can see, he's completely fine. Safety team were there to keep his airways out of the water. Matt's just handing the official gauge back to the judges, ready for the next athlete, and he'll go over to the doctor to be checked out. They'll check his oxygen saturation and give him a chance to breathe some oxygen.
Okay.
I'm going to excuse myself before the next two divers so I can go coach Mike and some
Thank
other
you,
friends.
Kate, for joining us,
Thank you,
Kate.
Kate.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good luck to Mike, please.
Yeah,
send
good luck.
Send him all the luck we've got coming from us here. I'll move over a little bit here.
So next up is Kurt Chambers from the United States, who dives in Hawaii. So you might know a little bit more about Kurt.
I do know about Kurt. Kurt is a renowned photographer and spear fisherman. He came from that pathway into freediving. As you know, we all come into the sport from different backgrounds, and that's what Kurt. Being from Hawaii, I think that spearfishing is one of the main venues for us there. He is the current national record holder in constant weight for the United States, and
There was a record that he took last year here in the Caribbean Cup.
Yeah,
That's true.
I think free immersion as well. He did a really good Caribbean Cup last year. He was second overall.
yeah, he was he was able to surpass Nick Maboli's record in constant weight.
So his free immersion national record, I believe, is 94 meters right now, and he is announcing 90 today.
Yeah, he's been having a little problems in training, so I think he decided to be more conservative, probably hoping to get a white card, and just with the nerves of being in World Championships, maybe just dial it down a little bit. You know, Johnny, you can speak to that, I'm sure, and I've noticed with the announcements today that it seems like quite a few of our competitors, world record holders and such, have dialed it down some, probably just trying to allow themselves to have a bigger chance for success.
Yeah, that's right. Like we spoke about the dynamic before of having one shot to make that dive. So a lot of people are going with a dive that they feel like they could do almost on any given day. A couple of other factors. We've had variable conditions here. Some days we've had some really perfect, fantastic days. Other days we've had a bit of current.
Kurt is falling a little sideways. Now he's adjusted it right back.
Okay, so he's looking good down below 50 meters now. But yeah, so there's always that question over weather about what we're actually going to get. And another thing is the rope is 10 millimeters as opposed to 12.
Well, a little thinner.
Okay, and whilst I wouldn't say it's stretchy, it's maybe not the most static rope that's employed in some competitions. So athletes are having to dial back their announcements and take maybe 1 to 2% off of their maximum.
Yeah, for free immersion, the rope is extremely important. Not so much so in the other disciplines where you're not allowed to use it, so except for the turns. So.
Looks like a smooth free fall for Kurt today.
And there
There
he
he
is.
is at the plate.
taking his time. So Kurt also has a monster static, so he won't be worried about hypoxia, I'm sure. Taking his time, nice and relaxed down at the bottom to put that tag in.
I did want to mention, just for a point of fact, that there is not a rule that specifies on World Championships that the format, we have had ones in the past where we have heats and finals, and they will take the top qualifiers and they do get a second dive. So then that adds another element of what your announcement is for the first one in order to qualify to make that second batch. But at this competition, because we're doing men and women each day within a break, it would be too many days.
Do you think this is something that AIDA may employ for the future, Carla?
Yeah, we had, when I first competed in vertical blue, it was that way, and they also had it in Kalamata the following Dev Championships. I think it's up to the
When was
organizer.
that, in 2011?
Yes, vertical blue is 2009 and Kalamata 2011. Both of those had heats and finals.
Kurt is making good speed.
Yeah, here he comes.
Yeah, Kurt looking very strong. Kurt trains out of Kona.
Kona, yes.
So anyone in Kona looking for a freediving instructor, you can get hold of Kurt and you can find him on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, good service for Kurt. Yeah, because Hawaii, Big Island, Hawaii is where I live now. We have a growing community of freedivers, really, just in the last 2 years. And actually, I think we have good representation of the U.S. freedivers in Kona now. That
I think many of the U.S. freedivers are actually coming from the United
I
States.
think we have 4 competing freedivers.
Oh, that was a red card. They said it was a coach touch.
Oh no.
We didn't. Oh, the coach dove. All right. Okay, so that is a rule that if the coach is not allowed to leave the surface during the dive, sometimes they will dive down to take a photo or something like that. It's a very unfortunate disqualification because it has nothing to do with the success of the dive, but it is definitely not allowed.
Yeah.
Wow. So any would-be judges out there, make sure you stay on the surface.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit disappointing for Kurt because he did a beautiful performance.
I'm sure he's very disappointed.
Anybody would be really disappointed if after that huge dive.
Yeah, the last time I recall that happening in a World Championships was in 2011 Kalamata with Natalia Zarkova of Ukraine. Her coach dove and she was disqualified in the World Championships, and it would have been a big dive.
It would have been a medal.
Knowing Natalia, the way she dives.
Yeah.
That would be, yeah.
Well, just to finish my sentence, we had 4 competing divers for the World Championship now from Hawaii, but also 3 senior competitors from Hawaii. They are in the age groups above 50. Yeah, it's the master diver group. So I think the majority of the U.S. freedivers come from Hawaii this year.
They have the best conditions for depth diving, so it's just kind of obvious that that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Next up on the blue platform,
we've got a blue diver.
We've got a blue diver, Adam Stern of Australia, whom Johnny was mentioning earlier. Johnny, tell us about Adam.
That's about Adam. Well, Adam is based out of Sydney, but runs a lot of courses in Bali. He calls his training the Deep Week, and anyone that's going to be in Bali over the next couple of months, if you want to learn some advanced freediving techniques from Adam Stern, then make sure that you get on and follow him on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube.
Adam Freediver on YouTube.
Yep.
He's a very lively,
very
funny
entertaining,
guy. Very entertaining,
good.
Very, very active on social
camera.
media.
Yes. If you saw the dive I streamed yesterday, you must remember Adam. He's commentating.
Yeah, that's right. Adam was here with Alexei doing a commentary set. So
he's announced 92 meters today in a dive time of 3 minutes and 20 seconds. This will be a national record for him.
Yes.
And
his own national record, I believe.
Yes.
All right, and he is underway.
We have a fellow Australian on the platform doing the announcement, and Chris McKay, who's our platform coordinator for the day and the timer, and he's an excellent coordinator as well in line setting and timing and all those things, very talented. We gather talent from around the world and try to utilize them as best we can. Correct, Johnny? When we're running a comp, we get...
That's right. We draw the talent from everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's one of the beautiful things about freediving events is you're sitting at a table with people from a different country all the way around. So
we've got Anna von Betticher on deck over here. Anna, would you like to join us and give a few comments about how you feel about this competition?
Come on in. So Adam's settled into his freefall. He's got a beautiful freefall technique actually. Nice and steady. He's holding his balance. He's just tilting off to the side a little bit now. His legs are fairly long, but still nice and relaxed. Nice neutral position of the head. And he's doing a little bit of steering with the feet. But he's looking very good as we now approach 70 meters.
Yeah, this should be an easy dive for him, and he can equalize to well below 100, so that's not challenging him on the way down. And I actually think he's more focused on the depth and constant weight at the moment, so announced a fairly easy performance for himself for free immersion day.
And if you're watching at home, Roberto Berto at 92 meters, the national record is still going to be within reach. So I hope you're training hard for the Aussie depth nats in Bali. As we see Adam reach the plate, take the tag, so nice and smooth off the bottom, and he's coming up strong.
Yeah, that should be no problem. It's an issue sometimes for divers to manage the narcosis, but again, he's well below 100 meters, so even that on constant weight, so I think he'll be just fine with this.
Anna, would you like to explain just a little bit what narcosis is like?
Yeah, sure. That really is something that's a very unique to the diver. It affects people very differently. It basically, what we're talking about is nitrogen narcosis. So nitrogen, the inert gas nitrogen, affects us a little bit like alcohol would, you can say. So it actually heightens emotions. So you can have either a feeling of euphoria, or you can feel dizziness, or you can actually feel stress and feel very panicky and stressed. It can be any of those things. Some people even say they're hallucinating, they're seeing stuff. And in freediving, this is not such an issue because we don't breathe underwater, so you need to be quite deep to get narcosis. But what issue we have is that we also build up carbon dioxide, and that actually again affects and heightens narcosis. So on the longer dives, it gets much stronger.
Here comes Adam.
And Adam.
Adam's at the surface.
Oh. That was good. That was good.
Oh, good save, Adam. I think he was a little bit too excited about making a dive and rushed into the surface protocol. Forgot to take the nose plug off, but he looked really there. You know, he was not hypoxic.
No.
He was just a bit of excited.
So that's the beauty of having a coach with you, just in case you arrive at the surface a little bit vacant-minded.
Yeah, and Amber is coaching him. She knows how this works.
Big round of applause for Adam.
Nice national
New
record.
national record.
National record, Adam.
Always really good to start off a world championship with a national record dive.
For those of you watching, the rule regarding that is that the protocol begins with the removing of the facial equipment. Adam did not have any goggles on, so the protocol would begin when the nose clip came off. So anything he did prior to the nose clip coming off does not count. So he was able to start again once he removed the nose clip, but it still has to be within the 15 seconds. Sometimes I think that we get so used to the feel of it. You look at that thing, and it is kind of like a vice grip on your nose, but you get so used to it.
Sometimes your nose goes numb.
You don't notice it.
Totally.
I'm sure for people watching, you think, how could you not know that thing is on there, and also that big neck weight? But you know, I remember having to take someone somewhere once, and I looked down, and I had a neck weight on, and fin keepers, and didn't even notice it. I was so used to the feel of it. So
no, the equipment just becomes part of us.
It does.
And that's actually why it's a really good thing to train yourself to first remove the nose clip and then the goggles, because you're much less likely to forget the goggles than the nose clip. Next diver is Michael Ward from the UK.
So this is Kate's partner. co-owner of Freedive Gili in Bali, Indonesia.
The power couple.
Yeah, they're both diving really well here, and actually Mike's been increasing his depth this year. He's done a big jump. For all of us, what can happen is that we sometimes get stuck on a plateau, and he's really overcome that and pushed ahead.
That's right.
And he's actually going for an easy dive here because he's interested in the maximum depth and constant weight.
Kate is coaching in the water.
And he is now on the way. So Mike, former Marine, now full-time freediver, professional freediver.
Yeah, and he's very strong mentally. Like, there isn't much that's gonna stop him from going where he wants to.
That's right.
And
On land or underwater.
Exactly. And sometimes that can actually also cause you problems, right? Because you have to then know how to pull yourself back. Because sometimes just pushing forward is actually going to limit you. You need to be able to find a gentler wave. And but he's done it this year. It's really amazing how he's diving. Like, seems to be no stopping him.
Yeah.
That's right. So he's now down below 40 meters and he is into his free fall. His legs are kicking around a little bit. So this is probably partly to do with the fact that he's got his arm up, which is probably there to help him with the equalization. So that just drags you offline a little bit and you're not completely
Did Mike take
streamlined.
your equalization class?
He did several years ago.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
so
right.
he's one of Johnny's divers. Yeah.
Good.
In saying that, he was already a very deep diver before he joined me, and we just tried to do a little bit of troubleshooting, and since then he's continued to develop on his own methods his freediving equalization.
Also, Mike and Kate, they both dive with a goggle that's flooded with fluid, but they didn't have the lenses inserted for seeing.
Yeah, I have the same actually.
So
I do the same. This is in some divers. The water moving on the face causes a swallow reflex, and it helps to just cover the face and have less of a feel of water moving. And that's actually why wearing those goggles. And we try to wear as big a mask as possible to cover as much of your face as you can.
I see. Yeah, there are some receptors around the eyes on the skin that's sort of connected with our autonomic nervous system. Part of it also triggers dive reflex, but part of it could also trigger like some kind of gog.
Okay, Mike's
Alright.
looking very good coming up off the bottom. As you can see, he started with shorter strokes as well at a higher frequency. Now he's starting to lengthen the strokes, space them out a little bit more, getting a bit of glide. So he would just be settling into the rhythm and focusing on having a nice calm mind. Diving down below 90 meters, it's quite likely he'd be under the effects of some narcosis. So if you're feeling good, you can feel really good.
Yep.
And if it's not going quite so well, you can really feel.
Yeah, Johnny, what do you do when you feel narcosis?
What do I feel?
Yeah.
Well, what do? I just focus on technique. I mean, that's about the only thing that you can do. Try and invite nice thoughts. If you invite nice thoughts, then as I said, it can help you feel better. The last thing you want is to have negative thoughts down there when you're 80, 90, 100 meters below the ocean. So, yeah.
Yeah, staying really concentrated on your rhythm, on the dive itself. And here's Mike about to come up.
Looking good.
Oh no, I think he had a double
Ooh,
OK sign.
okay, so we think he squeezed his OK sign in between removing facial equipment.
So
Let's see what the judges have to say about that.
That's usually alright if you still have facial equipment on.
I think it starts with the removal of the goggles.
Carla Sue, any thoughts on this?
I didn't actually see it. Maybe if you...
We'll see in a minute.
No.
Yeah, no, it was in the wrong order. That's
Wrong
the
order.
problem. That's really unfortunate. He was a little bit too hypoxic and wasn't able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hard luck, Mike.
know the reason for that, but yeah, that's why we train. In training, we really try to focus on always doing the service protocol correctly, so that ideally it just becomes completely automatic. So you will just do it in any case in the right order.
Yeah.
But mistakes can always happen.
That's right. This is, I guess, one of the downsides of having both mask and nose clip.
Yeah.
Personally, I prefer to use just the nose clip. When I was competing more a couple of years ago, I would remove my nose clip under the water, which would mean that I arrive to the surface. All I got to do is give an okay and say I'm okay.
Yeah, that's simplifying things.
Exactly.
That's a good strategy.
So people might argue that
Well,
you don't
sorry
want to be
for
doing.
both Kurt Chambers and Mike Bohr for getting a red card after performing such a huge dive.
Yeah, that is so.
Yeah, it's always frustrating for everyone, including the judge actually, who has to give that red card when a
right.
diver comes up to the surface and they're clearly okay and they've done a big dive.
Yeah.
No judge actually wants to give a red card, and it's really heartbreaking, I think, a lot of the time also for the judges to have to do that.
Yeah. But also the dives are getting deeper and deeper, so it's becoming harder and harder for the diver to perform at the surface. And so let's hope then the next diver, Ding Xiaosh, is gonna make a good one.
Yeah, so Dean has announced 98. He's been he's been over 100 meters in training.
101, I think he's he's done 101, something around that for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe even more.
But yeah, again, he's played the conservative card, and I think he's more looking forward to the no fins dives, and he wants to do a nice dive for himself.
Dean lives in Bahamas, trains in the Dean's Blue Hole. He's progressed a lot, right, over the last few years.
Yeah, that's right. So Dean also started his freediving with Mike and Kate in Freedive Gilly. He worked there for several months as an instructor. So before he moved to Dahab for a while, did his training there, and then now came over to the Caribbean. Nice long strokes by Dean. He's very long and lean and very much built for this discipline.
Yeah, he has a really fluid style, and also I think for all the divers who are our no fins specialists, let's say, the guys who are diving, and women who are diving really deep without fins, doing these dives, pulling themselves along a line in comparison,
should be
much so
easier.
easy that it's you can just see how relaxed they are in these dives, because compared to that, the stress factor is just really not the same.
Yeah, that's right. One thing I must say about free immersion though is they are longer dives, and as we said about narcosis, a lot more people will be affected by narcosis with these deeper dives. So the chances of having negative thoughts down there at 100 meters with no fins on, slightly higher. And I think a big part about whether a diver makes the dive or not is what goes through their mind as they're coming back up to the surface.
Absolutely. Even actually celebrating your dive before you come up can actually make you miss the surface protocol, because a lot of the time for us freedivers the limiting factor is equalization. So even getting down is already in 90 meters.
Dean's already at 90.
Yeah, it's beautiful descent from Dean. Very nice technique. Very streamlined. Very well timed.
Smooth turn around.
Smooth turn, yeah.
That's a really
that shows a lot of practice,
Textbook from Dino.
It's beautiful to be able to see this even for us athletes, because we normally don't get to watch ourselves on the way down and at depth in this way, and it's actually very interesting for us to see what we're doing, how we're looking, how is the free fall position. It gives us a lot of valuable information and feedback.
Yeah, for those of you at home, all of the best freedivers get the basics right. Okay, you get the basics right, then you can do much bigger dives. But what I tend to see with a lot of deeper freedivers that make mistakes, they're making mistakes on the basics. So no matter how deep you dive, always make sure that you get the basics right. Beautiful relaxed strokes from Dean. He's got his legs crossed, I guess to aid in his streamlining.
Looks really smooth and easy now.
He must be enjoying it.
And you can see how he just doesn't look like he's in a hurry.
Yes.
And actually pulling really hard and strong, it doesn't really make you faster. It just actually uses a lot more energy. So nice and fluid.
It might be a little bit faster, but then the energy efficiency is lower.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. And as we said, with a little bit of bounce on this rope, pulling hard, you're just going to consume more oxygen without getting as much return. So he's now with safety, and he's now up above 20 meters. It's very comfortable. very relaxed. Safety divers keeping a good eye on him.
It's almost like he's dancing underwater.
Yeah, the underwater dancer. Here he goes. He's positively buoyant now. Last couple of strokes. There he goes, and he's at the surface. No, that shouldn't. That should be okay. And
I think there was a wave that
a wave.
hit his face, but let's see what the judges say.
So there was a bit of a wave and a dip of the platform.
Right.
So
if it wasn't an athlete who dipped because they couldn't hold their airway up, judges, often give them the white card, but sometimes judges want to give them the red card, anticipating a protest so that they can watch the video again, just to be sure.
yes.
Let's just say let's see what judges will decide on.
So they're about to give him a card. White card. Well done.
Congrats
So
to Ding.
the judges have made what I believe is the right call there. Dean didn't
Yes,
dip down at
I
all.
agree.
It was the platform arm that went down with the wave,
Okay.
and he caught a little bit of a wave.
So you just need to be seen clearly that you are holding your airways up above the water, and if basically surrounding factors like waves or a dip in the arm basically submerge you for a second, that is not grounds for qualification.
No, there was no way he could control that. He came up and the arm of the platform went down, and there was no.
That's right. He would have had to halfway climb up to the top of the arm.
Well, I would like to thank Ding Xiaosh for a beautiful underwater dance to 98 meters in 3 minutes and 45 seconds.
Yeah, next up we have Morgan from France. And actually, Morgan, we're going beyond 100 meters now. That's the first diver to 102. So we're breaking that 100-meter mark.
Morgan dives down below 90 meters in no fins, so we would imagine that this should be a very comfortable dive for him. Perhaps just a little bit of equalization practice, or perhaps he's just doing it for nice sensations.
He's one of the strongest no-fins divers in the world, and actually he's really spectacular to watch on technique.
Yeah.
So on the men's no-fins day, which is Saturday, next Saturday, do watch that, and he's really stunning how much he moves with each stroke.
Yeah.
The top
Well,
guys is really impressive.
His nickname is Mr. Perfect, so
All right, here we go, Mr. Perfect.
we will expect perfect technique from him.
Morgan is diving to 102 meters in free immersion. He lives in the part of France that has kind of cold water to me.
All of France has cold water.
Okay, so kind of agree about that. And he usually trains in the thermal climes and much tougher conditions. So warm water would actually make a dive easier. But actually, when I asked him the other day, he felt the Roatan water might be a bit too warm for him. So
that's one of the things that's hard around freediving is you're going to different places and you always have to acclimatize to the conditions. And that includes the water temperature, the air temperature, the salinity of the water even, and all those small details make a big difference to your dives.
logistics, yeah.
So yeah, allowing a bit of time for acclimatization before you start into your serious training is always a recommended course of action. So Morgan pulled down to 50 meters before starting his freefall, and he's really free-falling with some speed. Yeah, I think minimum 1 meter per second,
Yes, really fast.
which is really fast for a free immersion dive.
He shouldn't have any issues with equalizing to this depth.
No, it looks like he's just taking a little nap. He's veering himself back towards the line.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to really always have some form of contact to the line, either physical or visual, because ultimately you...
Oh, there's a surprise.
Just talking about equalization, and he's done an early turn.
Early
Turned around
That's a
95.
shame for Morgan, because that looked like a really easy dive otherwise.
Yes.
So there you go, like I said before, equalization, always still a limiting factor for most of us. Someone has said to me once, when I was a beginner, it gets really interesting when you can equalize deeper than you can come back from. Then it all starts to be a new game.
Changes
a
the
whole
game.
new game again.
Changes the game.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Because most of us at the start, we're just so focused on getting down there, and that's the big deal. And getting back is not really the problem. And then you have a whole host of new issues when you get to really good equalization.
Yes.
That's right. So that's
Johnny,
where,
would you like to talk a little bit about your equalization clinic that you run around the world?
yeah, I run equalization clinics to help people dive deeper, obviously, but we can focus on different things depending on the level of the diver. For beginners, actually for beginners and for the more advanced divers, a big part of what we focus on is relaxation and actually how to relax, because the word relaxation gets thrown around a lot with freediving, but nobody really tells you about how it is that you should relax. So that's a big thing that we focus on. And we also look at some other elements that goes on within a dive. And so far we've been
How
pretty
do people
successful.
sign up for your course if they wanted to learn from you?
Well, they can add me on Facebook, or they can send me a message on Messenger. They can follow my my website, jonathansunix.com, and we run regular courses at Blue Element, so in Dominica.
So here he's back. Surface protocol, no problem.
Yeah, very strong.
So the dive still counts. What
Yes.
happens with the points when somebody turns early? So it doesn't mean they're disqualified. They get a yellow card.
Yes,
right.
we actually had a brief discussion here earlier when Kate was here. For the meters, they didn't do. Basically, that's penalty point. Each meter is 1 point penalty, and for the meter they actually performed, they get points for that. And then you subtract the penalties from the points they get, and also subtract the 1 point for the tag, without taking the tag out.
Yeah, that's right. So with Morgan's dive, he announced 102. He achieved about, let's say, 95. Then we'll subtract the 7 points from the 95, minus 1 point for the tag. So we
8.
subtract 8 points from 95, which leaves us with, what's it leave us with, Jesse? 87 points.
Yeah, around there. So sometimes the dive eye is not exactly at the same depth as the diver, but it's plus and minus plus 2 meters, I think. Yeah, what's so special about this competition is that we have the dive eye that follows the diver all the way down and all the way up. So you know, as a diver, you know there's somebody having an eye on you all the time throughout the dive, and that just adds extra safety.
It
And
does.
It's really nice.
And actually, it's a little bit funny. Like they started using the dive eye in training, and when I first went down, I didn't even know it was there. And then suddenly, I could sort of see something in the distance all the way down.
And it feels like somebody's there, right?
It's a bit odd. Like at first, I thought, who's swimming down with me so deep, you know? And then I realized that it must be the dive eye. And it takes a bit of getting used to, but actually, it's really beautiful. It's so nice to just know that people from the surface can actually see you. And they can see if you're getting into trouble, and it's a really major added level of safety for all
Gives
of
you a
us.
bit of a reminder to make sure that your technique looks good as well, eh?
When you know that you're going to be on television and or on a live feed, and people will comment on what you're doing, that's all a whole different game as well.
Yes.
Okay, we have next up on the blue platform, we have William Trubridge, our current world record holder in this event. We're at his last few seconds where he's doing his tags, getting ready to start. He's announced a conservative 116 meters today. He's had some problems and hasn't felt his dives have been going well, so I think he dialed it back a tad. Have you talked to him, Johnny, during this competition?
A little bit, not too much about how his training's going. I think a part of it is, well, the rope, because he dives with a thicker and maybe a slightly stiffer rope than we have here at his home in the Bahamas. So he's reduced his performance a little bit because of that.
Yeah. As Johnny were talking about training for basics, I think William is an example of a diver who really takes the time to train, to fine-tune all of the details in the technique and get the basics really solid, right?
Yeah.
And,
if you look at him, it's hard to find a fault, you know?
Yeah.
He's the picture of relaxation.
Yes.
His legs don't fold over too far. He enables them to stay quite well extended.
Yeah, what impresses me most is how well he is able to position his body in relation to the line. And see, he's not turning sideways or going far from the line or running into the line. He's really well positioned right next to the line.
And that's something
centered.
every diver should strive for.
Exactly.
You know, whether you're going to 20, 30, 50 or 100 meters, you should strive to dive with perfect technique.
And I think William is also the inventor of the bungee strap technique on the legs. Am I
Quite
right?
likely, yeah.
And a lot of freedivers have taken up on that little trick too, so that they can, put their hands, thumb into the bungee by the bungee on the leg, so that gives the body a little bit better hydrodynamic on free fall.
This is something you employ, Jessie?
Not yet.
Not yet?
But I look forward to trying someday.
Okay, William's now down below 100 meters, looking super calm and relaxed. If we're lucky, we might see a little bit of reef in the background. William did a training dive the other day, and it was a beautiful background of the reef here in
Yeah,
Roatan.
which is actually quite close.
Oh,
Almost there.
Early
so
twin day.
I believe he made 114 or 115, so he will only lose about 3 points.
It's
Now,
also rare for
this
him,
is something
right?
that could be really important later on in the competition. There's both Alexei and Walid that have announced deeper dives.
Oh, he missed the rope one time.
But for the point system, I would think as long as he's clean on the surface, he's almost guaranteed a bronze medal.
Yeah, that's
That's how
right.
it
Like
goes.
even losing some points because of an early turn means you can still have a very good performance and end up with a medal in a World Championship, especially.
So he may be a little bit frustrated, but
Yes.
I don't think he's going to have any issues. So something else, just by us having the dive eye here, that does add another level of pressure on the athletes. You know they're being watched, and they know that all you guys are tuning in. And whilst we all love the fact that we're now a spectator sport, it does add a little bit more pressure to the athletes.
Sure, it does feel different when people are watching and commenting on what you're doing, and you haven't even seen yourself down there yet, right? And so actually that is quite a strange feeling for us. It's as new to us as it is for the audience at the moment.
Okay, so William has settled into his pulling and gliding. He's now crossing his legs as well. And he's now with safety. So it's always a welcome relief to be with your safety divers, especially after a dive down below 100 meters.
Yeah, you can't even begin to think what a special moment it is and how much we athletes appreciate the safety team who are working incredibly hard. I mean, you can't even count the dives that they do over a period of a World Championship like this, including the training.
Okay, William is at his last pull. He's breathing
Totally
well.
breathing. Okay, to me that looked like a clean protocol.
Yeah. My heart rate did increase though when he missed that pull at around 100 meters or something like that. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that something didn't look quite right. I know.
Yeah, that was a big dive.
This is
4
really
minutes
dive.
and 8 seconds. You know?
Yeah, that's a deep and long dive.
So William gets a yellow card. Okay, so apart from being a couple of meters short, it was a beautiful performance.
Beautiful performance.
And we've got Adam Stern over here, who just freshly set a national record for Australia, so we might get him in for a few words.
So Anna and Kate, let Adam come in and talk for a few minutes, and he can talk about some of the other handballs.
Adam, congratulations on your dive.
Thank you so much, guys.
Well done. So I think you went maybe 90 times deeper than your your previous performance. How do you feel?
I feel very, very good. I mean, I've been told to keep it down. I don't do any free immersion in training, so for me it's always a bit of a weird thing to just announce a dive and pull it off. But I'm still not used to almost every aspect of a free immersion dive. And I think after my service protocol I said something about I hate free immersion.
But what aspects are there? There's pulling and pinching and blowing and holding your breath.
Okay, so coming up on the white platform is Alexei Mochano. He is going for a dive to 121 meters.
So this is the deepest announced performance of today. And Alexei earlier this year equaled Williams' world record of 124 meters.
Alexei is the best athlete from Russia and arguably the best athlete in the world at the moment. He won the Vertical Blue 2017 this year. So
It's been a continued head-to-head between him and William over the last several years. So Alexei seems to be really coming into his own over the last couple of years. William previously had quite a large margin on him in this discipline, but looks like Alexei's been working a little more. And
yeah, he seems to have caught up in most of the disciplines. Well, the other in constant no fins and in free immersion as well. I think the thing is for Alexei is that he knows he has such a big lead in constant weight now, so he has the energy to focus on the other disciplines.
Yeah, that's right.
He's doing that classic swimming thing where he's controlling his free fall with his feet and keeping his toes pointed.
Yeah, he's a little scull with his right ankle. So he's continuing his pulling just to gain a little bit more speed into the free fall. But beautiful streamlining from Alexei, as you'd expect.
As you would expect. Alexei is known for having pretty immaculate technique in all the freediving disciplines, but especially with the monofin.
Alexei does most of his teaching out of Dahab, but he is actually joining you for a deep week, I believe.
Yeah, he's going to come over and teach a camp with me in November this year in Bali, so that's going to be good fun. I've never taught with Alexei before, but we've been living together for this competition, and at least I know it's going to be heaps of fun.
Yeah, that's right. So.
I went to a seminar that Alexei had in Munich, and he introduced his new Maltinov training system, which he and his mother Natalia Maltinova have designed. It is the way that they train and believe is their key to success, and it's all pool training. He believes that all your strength and breath hold and all that comes from him being from Moscow. He has an opportunity to have pools all the time, and he says that you do that to develop all of
Alexei
Here we go, coming down to the
play.
bottom. Grabs
Beautiful.
the tag.
Beautiful.
And he is coming up.
And here we go, he's pulling himself up from 121 meters. This will be a long ride.
So he was about 2 minutes and 20 seconds to get down to the bottom.
Yeah, that's pretty standard for him because he's quite a buoyant fellow and he usually doesn't wear weight at all. So he tends to have a slow free fall.
This is true, but it is a very long time to be holding your breath going in a downward direction. So it just shows his mental strength. You know,
He's coming up nice and relaxed.
And he's a competitor that's been around for many years. Like
Many years.
he'd been a legend in the sport for many years before I arrived.
He'd been a legend in the sport before I knew what freediving was.
So Alexei is often called the Golden Globe of freediving in his golden suit. And he very much looks the part here in his free immersion. Beautiful technique, pulling and gliding.
You can always tell when a diver has complete composure, and that is exactly what it looks like.
His technique is immaculate.
Yeah.
Now, what we can see on the surface is a few waves coming by, and you can see it's disrupted the rhythm of his pulling, and I think he's timing it so that he can get maximum buoyancy on that stroke.
So he can pull against the moment where the wave will help him most.
That's right. So
To me,
that
it
takes
seems like
presence
his
of thought.
pulling frequency has increased slightly.
Definitely has.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, as well, is we have to take narcosis into account. I mean, he's going to have a very strong narcosis on this dive, so maybe he's just woken up.
If he's successful, this will be the gold medal winning performance.
Yes.
He's now with safety, so he's now at 30 meters. Okay. He's taking his time, trying to allow that buoyancy to kick in. He may also have tired arms because he's pulled himself a long
I would
way.
imagine his arms are a little bit fatigued by now.
He's up above 20. Should be just a few more strokes. Okay, he's aiding his ascent with the odd kick of the legs.
It's pretty standard for him,
I
though.
can really relate to that because I get really sore
And
arms.
reach.
Yeah.
Reaching, here he is.
Oh, he looks clean.
Looks clean.
You're trying
Okay.
to take a nose clip off. Other way.
Oh.
Oh, so
He's done his surface protocol to the safety divers and not the judges.
Now this is something that came up during the Caribbean Cup.
It did.
He did exactly the same thing. Did a beautiful dive as he did today, but he was initially awarded a white card and then later
and then
it was overturned.
That may be a red card, which is very sad because
and you know what? The interesting thing about that is it really opens up the door to those divers that made shallower performances.
Absolutely. I mean, this puts the bronze medal, I suppose, right back in there in contention.
Yeah, that's right. And William made his dive of 116, but a little bit short. So I believe he would have got 112 or 113 points.
Yeah.
So Walid is now the only one that can beat him. Who is up next? The next step down would be.
So Carla, I have a question. In a situation where if the athlete did a performance completely in the opposite direction of the judges and judges didn't see that, and if they turn around and did another okay side and said it, if the judges just only saw the second part?
No. Okay. No, that's still a red card.
Yeah, okay.
Guy, what do you think there? Because in my opinion, I felt like, oh, sorry, we'll stop there because Walid is just about to go.
Tell us what you see, Adam.
Well, he's definitely moving with a good pace. I mean, the thing is, Walid has been doing some huge dives in training, and he's had some huge successes, and then he's had some big blackouts. So, I mean, he's definitely got the ability for this dive. It just kind of depends on whether he's on today or whether he's off.
So his fate is in his hands. Basically, if he makes this dive,
this would be a gold medal.
It would be a gold medal. In fact, I think he could afford to pull up 1 or 2 meters short and still have the gold medal.
I think he may even just get down to the bottom and not take a tag and get out of there quickly.
We don't know where William turned, so...
Right.
He's making good time. He's faster than a meter per second, which is not super easy to do with free immersion as well. Well, it also has a beautiful free fall. Look at that.
So yeah, he's got his arms nice and close to the side. It does appear as if he has got straps around his thighs to perhaps tuck his thumb.
Why don't you let everyone know why people do that, Johnny?
Well, it aids in the streamlining.
Yeah.
Stops the arms floating around, which for some people may also aid in their relaxation.
Absolutely.
Okay.
He's looking good. He won't have any issues with getting down there.
No.
Okay.
That would give him 113 points with the no tag. So William, so that just to...
So 113 points for William Trubridge. I believe if Walid turns at 100
150. You get 111.
Yeah, so Walid needs to go to 116 meters.
Exactly. Minimum. Like we have Kate here to do the math because math is not the strong suit of most freedivers.
Speak for yourself, Adam.
We got Jesse the scientist here, so I don't know what I'm saying.
Oh, right, well, he
He's
decided
at the plate,
to
so
get the touchdown.
He's getting a tag.
Well, no.
And up he comes. Frog kick at the bottom.
Yeah, so I saw his one of his performances earlier, and he does do the odd frog kick.
Yeah. I found it helpful in the past just to help build a bit of that confidence and speed off the bottom plate.
It'd be interesting to see what the actual effect is versus what the perceived effect is.
That is absolutely right, because I mean, it's your legs are. I mean, it's a very big muscle group to be using and to be burning oxygen from. Especially when you got legs like these, you know.
So he's settled into his rhythm.
He's looking really good.
He is looking good, but he is at 80 meters, so that's true. He's still got a long way to go back to the surface.
Seems like he's been doing a more precise grip on the rope than what he had done in the training.
Yes.
And that was filmed by Dive Eye. So
this dive time is quite fast.
For Walid, yes, we're now at 3 minutes. Walid also has a monster static.
Yeah, he does a lot of deep hangs. There's a lot of very long dives at 40 meters and 50 meters in his training.
Now, for those of you that think doing deep hangs is going to be a good way of improving your diving, make sure that you have proper safety and that you know what you're doing.
I'm 100% certain Walid does that with a counterballast and everything like that.
That's right.
And here he is, Mr. Trubridge, the conversation we've just been having about points right now.
So, Will, do you want to join us? Walid is doing
Come
a
take a
dive
seat.
where if he makes this and he's got the tag, it's a gold medal.
okay, so he's at about 35 meters right now.
Sorry, I just came off oxygen. I'm still a little
Okay, so he's just met his
he's
first
struggling,
safety
isn't
diver. Oh, he is struggling a little.
Yeah, that's. Oh no.
Oh, okay, looks like safety. Grab him.
Why are they going?
Grab him.
Oh no.
Okay, so
He's
get him up.
he's still quite deep as well.
He's still quite deep. So the safety divers have got him.
He's in good hands now. It's coming up quickly. Walid's going to be really
Okay,
disappointed.
So the people on the platform are getting ready for the rescue. The doctors are ready to lift him out of the water.
Yeah, don't do the surface camera.
Feet off, feet off, feet off.
He's head up.
Blow on him.
So the safety divers have Walid airway controlled out of the water. And he's breathing and he's coming back.
Yeah.
Okay, so testament to the safety team. Give him rescue breaths. Rescue breaths. Rescue breaths.
So Walid is now on the platform. Okay, so Walid is on the platform and safety divers got him on his back, and then he's breathing 100% oxygen.
Yep, and Walid is back with us now. He's moving. He's being attended to by all the safeties and both of our doctors. That he is now sitting up.
It is a very, very long dive, and then when the body goes through hypoxia, it's not only the consciousness goes away, sometimes the whole body's energy store is completely depleted, and it does take a long time for the diver to slowly recover and then regain the neurological functions and consciousness. So looks like Walid is doing okay, and he's sitting up and in a recovery position and comfortable. The safety divers are also helping him to breathe oxygen. The doctor is right next to him. And looks like we have another diver going down on the white platform right now. This would be Thibault from France. And Thibault is really known as a fast freediver in free immersion discipline.
And he's been training in the Philippines. He's been competing a lot recently, and he's very experienced. Yes, we're fine. Sonar's out.
Yes. So the safety divers are working busy with Walid. So we are monitoring Thibault's progress on the dive eye instead of the sonar, but at least now we have the depth now that he's at 40 meters. We'll just have somebody announce the depth over to the platform. And 50 meters.
Yeah. So it's a little noisy. We apologize for that because the sonar is not active right now. We do have 2 doctors here, so we are completely covered in the event that we happen to have 2 incidents at once. And we have double equipment and everything, so there's no problem. We would not be proceeding if we didn't think we could handle any issue, but Walid is up and we're going to ask William to come back and join us again so we can speak to him about his dive and about his feelings about this competition and about dive eye and everything we have going on here now. So, but Walid is sitting up, he's breathing oxygen, and he is fine. Thibault is now at 100 meters. He's going to do a turn. Just no. He is not. He's going to the plate. He has the tag and he's coming back up.
Okay, so Thibault has the
Nice
tag.
dive for Thibault. It's good. He's moving up now.
It must be really hard for Thibault to start his dive in such a situation when all the safety divers and people are yelling and talking loud.
Yeah.
So
No. Just
80 meters.
Just
Let's hope T-ball makes it all the way to the surface.
70 meters.
yeah. Yeah, Tebow's coming up, and we've got William Trubridge here joining us, who had a little bit of an early turn on his dive, but got a yellow card. But William, what I want to know is, how are you feeling about Dive Eye and about this competition in general?
50 meters.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. It's, look, being able to see the dives all the way down to the plate and back adds an extra element of safety, but as well as that, the impact for the media and the visibility of the sport is huge. And we've seen that with the numbers of people who are watching the videos and tuning into the live feed, so I think it's great all around.
Do you feel that it puts any added pressure on you as an athlete, knowing you're being watched and broadcast at the same time? Or?
Yeah, a little bit, but since we were training with the Dive Eye for a few dives, we kind of got used to that, and seeing it down there and the lights and stuff, so now it's really the back of my mind.
All right, well, let's hear a little bit about your dive. You turned it just what, 1.2 meters
from the plate,
soon?
Yeah,
T-ball is about to exit the water. Just take a break here.
Up. He's having a little trouble. He dipped. He's fine, but yeah, for those of you watching, the airway is not allowed to dip fully beneath the surface, so that dive will not be a white card. He was not able to keep his head up when he came to the surface. So William, please continue about your dive.
Yeah, it looks like the men are struggling today. We haven't had a clean white card amongst pretty much all the dives over 100, I think.
Second, we have Tim coming up in the afternoon.
Okay.
There's one more diver for 100.
Yeah, so my dive was pretty good. I just like maybe one dive out of 100, I get a block in my left ear. Happens very, very rarely, but when it does, it just like comes on suddenly. There's nothing I can do about it. I could have probably ridden my ears and gotten to the plate, but there was no reason for me to do that and risk doing something to my ears when we still have 2 disciplines to go. So I felt like I'd play it safe and get a bronze medal. Turning just below the plate.
Well, depending, I don't know. Alexei received a red card because he was facing the wrong direction when he gave his protocol.
He did that again?
I don't know. Yes, and he was completely opposite. I don't know if he will protest that and ask for a relook on the camera or not, but pending that, you are either the gold or silver medal winner today. So let's have
congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thanks. I mean, it's not the way I want to.
Of course not.
In the middle.
Of course not. Not for somebody.
It's not an easy day, anyways. We've got a little bit of surface swells and waves and everything. The rope must be bouncing as well.
A little bit. Well, we've had worse in training actually. Today there's no current. The swell isn't too bad. So overall, I'd say the conditions aren't that bad here.
Well, we're certainly glad to have you here and to have your support for AIDA International in general. William is one of our AIDA instructor trainers and a great representative of the sport in general. He's a huge advocate for ocean conservancy and environmental efforts to save the Hector and Maui dolphins in New Zealand, and he is nothing but a great symbol of everything we like to show in freediving to the world. So thank you so much, William.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you to everyone tuning in. Sachiko, if you're still watching this, thanks for your advice and all the support. Cheers, guys.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thanks.
So, yes.
Okay, so we are going to break for 30 minutes.
We have to pull the cameras up off the bottom and reset the batteries, make sure the film is working. That is a rule that we have a bottom camera. Of course, now with Dive Eye, it's great. We can see everything much better than we can see on those bottom cameras. We'll be taking a camera break, and we'll be back in half an hour with more action. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you in half an hour.